Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday morning. So, anybody notice what came out yesterday in Germany? It's a Reuters story that the headline is Germany steps up its emergency cash plans to cope with blackouts. Okay. And according to the story, German authorities are making preparations for emergency cash deliveries in case of a blackout to keep the economy running. Now, you could say the blackouts because of Russian gas. You could say the blackouts from a cold winter. You could say the blackouts from complete mismanagement of the European economy. Pick one, okay? I mean, the EU doesn't work, and, now all of a sudden they're realizing it 20 years some odd later. To give you a little idea, about 60% of the German public pretty much strictly uses cash. 60% of the transactions in Germany are cash because the Germans like their privacy. And we've talked about that all the time about having, you run your credit card through something, your debit card or whatever, and there's a record of who bought it. You go in and pay cash, and unless you're signing your name to something, it's just a cash transaction. There's nothing to it. Germans like their privacy. So if they have blackouts, there's no access to cash, and this is freaking out the German government, okay, to the point where they are stockpiling euros. Now, to give you an idea how that may come to play, when COVID started, okay, the Germans pulled 20 billion euros out of the bank, more than there were deposits into the bank. They all stockpiled cash. That's what the German government is afraid of. Okay, are they going to have the cash? Can they keep the economy going? Now, I know what some people are going to say. It's like, well, this doesn't affect us, okay, here in the States, Canada, whatever it would be. Really? Let's go back 2 weeks ago where Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut all warned their residents that there's a good possibility of rolling blackouts this winter. Okay. Why? Natural gas shortage. What does Germany run on? Natural gas. Competition. Okay. So there is that issue. Anybody gone outside yet this morning? It's 25 degrees here in Tennessee. It's November 17th. Yeah. Our average winter temperature where I live is 40. It's November. It's cold. Okay. Anybody looked at the weather forecast? Say you're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You're supposed to get 2 to 3 feet of snow this weekend. You're in Toledo, same thing, 2 to 3 feet. You're up around Buffalo, you're expected to get 5 to 6 feet of snow between now and Sunday. Okay. If you're up on the eastern edge of Lake Ontario, you're expected to get 3 to 4 feet. Okay. What happens when you have big snowstorms? You have power outages. Now, I've talked about this before. Somebody can say, well, you know what? Great, we're in Minneapolis. Yeah, you're going to get snow too. So is Toledo and all the way down to Kentucky and Chicago and Iowa and everything like that. So, I mean, there's a big storm that's coming through the Midwest and into the Northeast. It's just those areas are expected to get lake effect snow, and they're going to get totally dumped on. The rest of y'all are going to get it too. At this time of year, you can also get ice storms. Okay? And I remember being in an ice storm in Massachusetts on Halloween. This was 2011, 2012, something like that. Power was out for 5 days. Okay. There was nowhere to get anything. Okay. You had to go the nearest Dunkin' Donuts that had power was a half an hour away, and they were out of coffee. And for those of you who live in New England, New England runs on Dunkin' Donuts. That's it. Guys, it's very important today to, especially if you live in the Midwest or the Northeast, to go get some cash. even if it's just $100, something to get you through the weekend into the beginning of next week. It's going to be even harder next week because next week is Thanksgiving. A lot of people take vacation on Thanksgiving. That would be, I don't know, IT people, electrical workers, anything that might have some of this stuff going. You could feasibly, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm just saying this, being prepared, okay? If power goes out somewhere, it may not be fixed in 3 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours. It may be a day, 2, 3, 5. If you're going to need, you should have some cash on you at all times, okay? But I want you to look at this just a little bit deeper. If Germany, again, the biggest economy in Europe, okay, is now a little concerned about, gee, do we have enough cash? Imagine that starts to spread a little bit more through Europe. You could look at a complete failure of the European economy because of a snowstorm, okay, because of no electricity. The European economy goes down, it's not too long till the rest of the world falls like dominoes, okay? Because you've got, oh my God, we've got to go help. Biden's idea to help is just get out the taxpayer's checkbook, okay? Unless they plan on burning $100 bills in Germany to stay warm, I don't know what good that's going to do. But there's all the puzzle pieces are starting to come together. Countries are now, country here, we may have somewhat of a cash crunch, a financial crisis because of natural gas, because of the war, because of Biden wanting to keep the war going by placating Zelensky, by giving him anything he needs. I mean, there's a whole bunch of moving parts here, guys, that we have nothing to do with. I mean, you and I have no say in the matter what happens between Russia and Ukraine. We know that, okay? It doesn't make a difference. But we need to prepare for the fallout from it. Could it be financial? Could it be electric? Could it be heat? Whatever it would be. If the Germans are stockpiling cash, take the advantage that you have now to do it beforehand. I was watching a whole bunch of stuff today on calls for silver prices, calls for gold, doing some of the research on precious metals and things like that. You need to have some cash on hand. I mean, dollars, fiat currency, and I know all of us it's going to be worthless eventually. It's probably not going to be worthless this weekend, okay? So you still need it. Just have something to keep yourself afloat as we go into winter. You don't know what you're going to need, and the last thing you want to be is stuck somewhere and there's no electricity and you need gas, or I had to pick something, a cup of coffee, whatever it would be. Have some cash, have a little bit of cash. Doesn't have to be a ton, depending on what you're going to do this week. But remember, if the power goes out in one place, they start shifting the power there from other places. And you could start to see rolling blackouts in my area, in Nebraska, whatever it would be, if they have issues like that. Just saying, you don't know when the power is going to go out. Be prepared for that. We'll see you later today. Pinball out.